Hey guys, it's Jenna. It is so good to be here again. It has been almost a year, honestly, since I posted a video on YouTube, and here I am again. Since you last saw me, I believe it was in April of 2019, at that point, I was about to go to Haiti to be with my husband for his job. He got a new job overseas in Haiti, and the plan was for us to sell our house, for me to quit my job also, and go to join him down there. And that is eventually what happened. It took about 7 months to sell our house, unfortunately. It took a long time, but we finally sold it. I was able to quit my job. It was bittersweet, but I was able to quit my job as a librarian to go join him down in Haiti for the summer of 2019. Then he got transferred. He was transferred to a domestic position here in North Carolina, which is where we have been living since the very beginning of September of 2019. We have been loving it so far. We experienced our first real fall together, as well as our first real winter. We are in this cozy little apartment that we love in the mountains of North Carolina, and it's just been really, really nice so far. I do miss my old job down in Florida. I miss my family and my friends that are in Florida. However, I do not miss the state of Florida itself. I do not miss the weather at all. The weather here has been on point. I get to wear a sweater practically every day, and if you know me at all in real life, you know that sweaters are kind of like my uniform. Anyway, I don't want to ramble on too terribly long about what's been going on with us in our personal lives. I can save that for another video if you would like. What I really want to do in this video is to get back to the real pillars of booktubeness. Okay, that was a really awkward way for me to say that I really just want to get back to filming regular, standard, typical booktube videos. And what better way to do that than to present to you my top 10 books of 2019. Okay, so I will be referring to my Goodreads account, which is why I have my iPad here in front of me. That's why I'm looking down. This is in no particular order. I thought that it would present it in the order that I read them, but I guess not. So we're just going to start where it has me starting. The first book that is on my top 10 best books of 2019 list is The Final Empire by Brandon Sanderson. I gave this 5 stars. I absolutely loved it. It really lived up to hype. It really lived up to the hype, and I don't really have that much else to say about it. I liked the writing, I loved the plot, I thought that the magic system was incredibly inventive and unique, and it really lived up to the hype. Then, and this is not on my best book list, I read The Well of Ascension, which is the second book in that trilogy, and that ended up being a 4-star for me, as well as the third book. They were a little bit of a letdown in terms of I thought that they would both be 5 stars for me, but they weren't. But I still love the series as a whole, and the first book is definitely on my best books of 2019 list. The next book on my list is The Kiss of Deception by Mary E. Pearson. This is a YA fantasy / romance first book in a series, and I loved it. I ended up giving it 4 stars on Goodreads. I'm not sure why, but I remember just completely devouring this book. I loved the writing. I thought the characters were pretty strong. It was a little cheesy at times because there is a love triangle, but I just ate it up. And if you're looking for a fast-paced YA fantasy with a little bit of a romance subplot, I would highly, highly recommend this. The next book on my list is The Winter of the Witch by Catherine Arden. This is the third and final book in the Winter Night trilogy, and this is a historical fantasy story set in medieval Russia, and it follows our main character Vasya and her adventures as she kind of works to balance out this connection with the ancient spirits that live in the forest around her home, balancing that with her real life and the pressures of being a girl at this time. And it was absolutely fantastic. All three of the books. The first one is The Bear and the Nightingale. The second one is The Girl in the Tower. And they are, all of them, just absolutely fantastic. I did end up giving this 4.5 stars on Goodreads, I believe. Or no, I actually didn't. I gave it 5 stars. Why did I think that? I'm not sure. Okay, I found out what the problem was. As I'm looking at my best of 2019 shelf on Goodreads, I'm realizing that the ratings that I'm looking at are the average ratings for everyone who's read that book. So I'm not actually looking at my ratings. Hence the reason why I was getting confused. So, in review, The Final Empire got 5 stars. The Kiss of Deception did not get 4 stars, it got 5 stars. That's why I was confused. And The Winter of the Witch got 5 stars as well. Again, highly recommend it. Excellent historical fantasy, excellent writing, excellent characters, extremely atmospheric, and it really made me feel like I was in the middle of a wintry Russian forest the entire time that I read all 3 of these books. The next book that I would like to talk about is Where the Crawdads Sing by Delia Owens. This is probably my favorite book of 2019, if I'm being honest. I just loved everything about this book. The writing was fantastic, the characters were great, and essentially it's about this girl who is misunderstood by the society that surrounds her and her family, and it's just about her journey to self-acceptance and finding her place in the world. It is worth the hype, you guys. Go and check this out if you haven't already. I'm telling you, you won't be disappointed. 5 stars. The next book on my list is Ghosted by Rosie Walsh. This is an adult romance / mystery, I would say, contemporary. I picked this up because I knew that Katie and Molly over at the I almost blanked on the name of their podcast. Katie and Molly over at the No Thanks We're Booked podcast highly recommended this and actually interviewed the author, Rosie Walsh, sometime last year, I want to say. As in 2018, not 2019, I think. I honestly can't remember now, but they interviewed the author and I found the premise to be really intriguing, and both Katie and Molly said that they really enjoyed it, so I happened to pick it up and I could not put it down. I was completely intrigued throughout the entire way through. I found the writing to be very engaging, and it was just an addicting, quick read that kept me interested until the very last page. It's essentially about this woman who is ghosted, seemingly, by this man who she starts to get to know really well. They're falling in love, and then all of a sudden he disappears. And she's convinced that there's some sort of foul play involved, and I just thought it was excellent. Really, really good. Really great choice if you're looking for something quick and fun. Okay, so the next book on my list is the exact opposite of what I just talked about when it comes to being quick and fun. This book is The Passage by Justin Cronin. I read this over pretty much the entirety of the summer of 2019. I was in Haiti while I was reading this, and it took me a long time, partially because I was in a little bit of a reading slump, but also because it's very long. I want to say it's about 900 pages, maybe a little less. And this is an epic, sweeping, post-apocalyptic / apocalyptic story about the world being taken over by this virus that essentially turns people into vampires, although I'm pretty sure they're not actually called vampires by name in the novel. But we follow several different characters, and we do jump back and forth in time, if I'm not mistaken. I just thought it was excellent. It was a masterpiece, in my opinion. It reminded me of a little bit of Stephen King when I was reading it. I think it was because the previous fall? I can't remember. it gave me It by Stephen King vibes based on the way his story was structured and the way that he wrote the book and his writing style. It just was very Stephen Kingsian. Is that a term? In any case, it reminded me of Stephen King as I was reading it, and I loved it. I thought it was excellent. I don't think that I will be continuing on with the series because I'm not sure how many books are in the series, but I know that The Passage is the first in a series, and I just thought this first book was excellent on its own, and after finishing it finally, it took me so long, I was not interested in going back to that world for a little while. I really just wanted something light and fluffy after that, but who knows, maybe I'll return to the series one day. The next book on my list is The Honest Truth by Dan Gemeinhart. Not sure how you pronounce his name, to be honest with you. This is a contemporary middle grade story that also got 5 stars from me. I want to say almost every book on this list got 5 stars. This was an incredibly powerful and well done middle grade story about this young boy who is terminally ill and who decides to run away against his family and friends' wishes to try to climb this mountain. I can't remember which mountain it was. I want to say it was Mount Rainier in Washington, which I actually have been to, and it was beautiful. But his goal is to be able to climb this mountain, and so many people are telling him, you know, you can't do it, you're sick, you're too weak. Maybe they're not actually saying it to him, but he feels like they're saying it to him just based on their actions towards him as a terminally ill child. So it follows his small journey as he is going on this trek to climb this mountain, and I thought it was beautiful and so well done, and I highly recommend it if you're looking for really good, high quality middle grade. He does have several other books that I would like to read. One of them being, I think it's called The Remarkable Journey of Coyote Sunrise. I think that's the full title. It's another sort of like road trip journey story that I think would just warm my heart and just be delightful. Okay, we're losing light here, so I'm gonna have to make this quick. The next book that I read that I loved and ended up giving it 5 stars was How to Walk Away by Catherine Center. This is an adult contemporary / romance story that really captured my heart. I thought it was extremely well done. This is about a woman who is severely injured in a plane accident and who becomes paralyzed, and it's about her journey of healing physically and mentally, and I thought it was incredibly done in terms of writing from the perspective of someone who may not ever walk again and them learning to accept that mentally, and how her relationships with her family and her fiance and friends change, and I thought it was excellent. I again couldn't put it down, and I highly recommend it if you're looking for an adult contemporary cute / quirky / a little bit more deep than your average contemporary book. I would highly recommend it if that's the kind of story that you're looking for. Okay guys, 2 more. The next one is Our Lady of Kibeho, Mary Speaks to the World from the Heart of Africa by Immaculée Ilibagiza. And this book is a Christian nonfiction memoir of sorts. It's about what happened during the Rwandan genocide and how it started with 3 girls who claimed to have seen Mary, the Mother of God, at 3 different points. She appeared to each of them and had a lot to say about what was going on in Rwanda at the time, and it just transformed this little community. And I'm totally blanking on the name of their village. It's Kibeho. It's in the title. I'm such a good booktuber, guys. I'm so great. Okay, so the apparitions happened in Kibeho. Great job, Jenna. And it just tells the story of these girls' accounts of what happened, and it's compiled in a very easy to understand and follow way, and I really enjoyed reading it. I had no idea that any of these things happened. I knew about the Rwandan genocide, but I didn't know any details, and it was interesting to read about it from the point of view of these young girls who were really finding comfort in Mary during this traumatic time. So if you're at all interested in hearing about these apparitions and just hearing about a truly miraculous story, I highly recommend that. Okay, the last book on my list is Ruby Holler by Sharon Creech. This is a middle grade story that I tried to read several times as a kid, but I was never able to finish it for whatever reason, and I always wanted to, never went back to it until now. I read it in December of 2019, and it was one of the last books that I read. I think it actually might have been the last book that I read in 2019, and I loved it. I thought it was charming. It's a middle grade story about these two orphan twins, Dallas and Florida, and they have been bounced around from foster home to foster home. They're called the Trouble Twins by their current caretakers. They live in this terrible, terrible home, and eventually they're adopted by this older couple who take them to their home, and it's known by the name of Ruby Holler. And I just thought it was beautiful, touching, charming, and just sweet all around. So again, if you're looking for a sweet middle grade contemporary story that is quick to get through but oh so charming, I highly recommend Ruby Holler. Okay guys, I am definitely losing my light. I must go, but it was so good to sit down and finally film another video again. I am kind of feeling out my new apartment in terms of where I can get a good background and good lighting, but also not have too much road noise. We are situated right on a relatively major highway for this rural area that we're in, and the road noise can get very loud. So it's either good lighting and lots of road noise, or bad lighting and not as much road noise in the other room where the rest of my books are. So we'll figure it out. Anyway, like I said, it was so good to sit down and talk to you guys again about what I've been reading. I really hope to start posting more regularly in the new year of 2020. I have started to really get back into reading again after having several really long reading slumps last year, and now that we're settled, it's time to get back at it. I'm gonna give it another shot. So if you haven't already, please subscribe and give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Comment down below and let me know your favorite book or books that you read in 2019, as I would love to know, and I can't wait to start talking to you guys again on a regular basis. Bye!